Good morning to you all at home and also to the former Newcastle and Bournemouth midfielder Dan Gosling and to James Green. Dan, your debut was so strong, mate. You're straight back in. Straight back into the first team. Yeah, good to have you on board, mate, again. Right, let's start with the significant developments around the future of Marc Guehi. Crystal Palace have slashed their asking price for their captain to around about £40 million, with Liverpool in talks to sign the Palace captain and defender. Liverpool just keep going, don't they? Just keep spending here. With Guehi, when you look at their squad and you look at how they played in the Community Shield, is he exactly what they need to balance it out even more?
Say exactly what they need. I mean, yes, they do need reinforcements at the back. They need a centre-back for sure. And Guehi is a top player. I think you look at the price tag now, it's almost a bargain. Last January, Newcastle bid 70-odd million. So, yeah, to get him at 30, 40 million now is a great acquisition. Whether he chooses Liverpool, that's the big question.
Yeah, we don't know that yet. But if he does end up at Liverpool, for you, does he start ahead of Konate right now?
Well, it's certainly not ahead of Van Dijk. And he predominantly plays the left side centre-back. I know he's shifted over a few times. The Konate contract situation is going to be a big factor. I really like Konate. I think their partnership is great. But Guehi is a ready-made replacement. He can definitely slot in that side. Whether he starts the first game of the season, if he gets in there early enough, I'm not too sure.
OK, a long way to go ahead, of course, but they are in talks. James, Palace value him at 40 million, which means that Liverpool could easily get him for less than that, conceivably. Dan touched on it there, but that does seem an absolute bargain. He's only 25 years old.
Look, he's a terrific player. He's a terrific man as well, actually. This is someone I've interviewed many times. I really like personally. I think he's a great guy. And look, Dan alluded to the fact that Newcastle were interested and put in a high offer close to 70 million last summer. In January, Tottenham also tried to prize him away from Crystal Palace. Now, last summer, for Crystal Palace in particular, there were so many late transfer deals potentially happening. Were they going to lose Joachim Andersen and Marc Guehi? The club didn't want to do that. Now, we've been speaking about Alexander Isak so much in this window, refusing to play for his club, desperate to move on. Marc Guehi never acted like that at all. He was in a training ground every day. He was captain first game of last season, continued that role throughout, was highly successful for Crystal Palace. He's a great young lad. Remember, he moved from Chelsea to Crystal Palace at just the age of, 21 in 2021. A surprising move at the time to move away from a Champions League club like Chelsea to play for Crystal Palace. But that's the intelligence and street smarts of this young man. He had his feet on the ground, knew where he wanted to go, set his sights on playing for England, which he's established himself now, England's first choice centre-back. It is a bargain, but this is the right time. Steve Parish said it, didn't he, in his comments over the weekend? We can't let a player run down his contract to the end and go for free. We can't do it. So this seems like it's going to happen. And because it's 1 year left, that's why the deal's so cheap. OK, let's play a bit of fantasy football, shall we? Because we all like playing a bit of that. Let's have a look at the potential 11 that Liverpool could field if they get Marc Guehi and Alexander Isak. So we put Guehi in there ahead of Konate for now. As you'd expect, I guess, with the midfield. And then that front three is just absolutely terrifying, isn't it? Salah, Isak, Ekitike. Pick the bones out of that, Dan.
Well, I'm sure Konate is going to have something to say about it, first and foremost.
Hope he's not watching, yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing with that situation. Konate is not going to be happy on the bench for 12 months. He's in a World Cup year himself. He's going to want to play. Guehi, again, is in a World Cup year, going to want to play, and arguably could start for England next year. But if you go to Liverpool now, I just don't know whether you're going to get 40 games under your belt. I understand Palace point of view, they're going to want to sell, get some money in. But yeah, I mean, look at that team. It is frightening.
It is frightening. I must admit, so I see Marc Guehi as could be the future for Liverpool. Van Dijk signed his new contract, 34 now, 2 years left, gets to 36. Marc Guehi could conceivably be at Liverpool for the next 10 years in that centre-back role. Ibrahima Konate, 1 year left in his contract. As Dan said, we don't quite know where he's going. Liverpool, if you're going to criticise Liverpool, really hard to when they've won the Premier League title, but it was defensively. Now, despite that partnership at the back, how strong actually fundamentally was it? I'm not convinced. I think Marc Guehi offers something different to what Van Dijk and Konate offer, and I think it might balance quite well alongside Van Dijk. But one thing I would mention, they've got a new left back, they've got a new right back. Having a new centre back is a completely almost different back line. That can sometimes take a bit of time to gel.
But they might not be done there. Tell us more.
No, they might not be. And look, all clubs are looking ahead at the future. They can't just stand in the present. They have to look at what's ahead and what talent is out there. And Liverpool are interested in Parma's teenage centre-back, Giovanni Leone. He's just 18 years old. Parma could be open to selling him. But the figure we're talking about, Berre's 18, £26 million plus bonuses. Now, this deal for Leone is not linked with Marc Guehi. So even if they get Marc Guehi, they will still look to bring in this young centre-back. He established himself in the first team at Parma last season in Serie A. It's an exciting talent and one that Liverpool are trying to get their hands on pretty early to make sure nobody else does.
All right, but with the Guehi situation, you can get involved on the website. Which signing should Liverpool prioritise? Isak or Guehi? You can vote on the poll. Head to the transfer centre on the Sky Sports website. In fact, I might as well ask the two gentlemen to my left that while we're at it. Isak or Guehi?
I think Guehi. I think he'll be the first one. Obviously, the Isak situation's rumbling on. I don't think it's going to happen before they play each other in the Premier League. Obviously, Newcastle still haven't got a replacement yet. So, yeah, Guehi, get that done early and get him in.
Both. No, it's not. They can't say both. It's Isak or Guehi. There's no both button on the website.
Yeah, I can't pick. Look, Ekitike looks very, very good leading the line, even in that early stage of seeing him in a Community Shield. But Alexander Isak is high quality. But Liverpool need defenders.
So Guehi.
Marc Guehi, yeah.
OK, all right, we finally got out of him, got off that fence. Right, Crystal Palace will be hoping they only lose Guehi in the market. But you know what? They're probably right now fearing bids for Eberechi Eze in the final weeks of the window. We know that Tottenham are keen on signing him. And this is what the Spurs boss, Thomas Frank, had to say about being linked with the player.
I think there's a lot of good players out there. There's also a few from the PSG team, but I don't think we can buy them right now. So in general, players in or players out, I'm only speaking about, either something done or not done. So in general, I speak about my own players. I think I got a good team, good squad. Of course, this transfer window, we are definitely, in the market, and we'll do everything we can to make the best possible and strongest squad ready for the 1st of September. So there's a few things, as you say, along the way.
Right, well, let's address this from a Crystal Palace point of view first, Dan. If Guehi gets sold, and it looks like he's the most likely because he's in the last year of his contract, can they sell Eze as well?
Well, the fans won't be happy, that's for sure. But the player himself, Eze wants to play Champions League football, wants to test himself against the best, probably deserves that shot now. If you look at the squad and he sees Palace selling their better players, as a top player, you'd want to go get out as well. And when you're getting linked with the clubs that he is, I think he'll want to go.
Well, the two clubs that he's been linked with, mainly the two North London clubs, Tottenham and Arsenal. There's arguments for joining both. If you were him, which would you choose?
It's a really difficult one. Look, Arsenal, they're crying out for the left winger spot. I don't believe Eze is that natural left winger. I think he can obviously play there and cut in. But if you're going to sign Eze and put him on that left for the majority of the season, I don't think you're going to get the best out of him. And then, are you blocking pathways? Obviously, everyone's seen Max Dowman now come through. Ethan Nwaeri's there in those little half spaces, number 10 roles. So they've got a lot of players in there.
Could he not put pressure on Ødegaard?
Yeah, for sure, but you've got Nwaeri doing that, you've got Max Dowman, who I think is a terrific talent, and the whole world know about him now. He's ready to play, in my opinion. Whether that's every game, that's another conversation. But he's ready there to step in. I just think they might have too many number 10s, to be honest. So for me, obviously James Maddison injured. Spurs, it looks a better option for me.
It looks like Tottenham need him more than, say, Arsenal do. But Arsenal have had the shortcomings of coming second the last 3 years, of trying to attack the Champions League to win the Champions League and go one step further than the semi-final that they went last year. Their come down last year was the lack of depth in their squad. Now, they've been very active in the transfer window. Eberechi Eze offers huge depth in the squad, versatility with that forward line, pressure on Ødegaard immediately without maybe waiting for these youngsters to develop. No, I agree with you, and I think that's Arsenal's point of view. They want to protect the pathway for these players, and I totally agree with you on Max Down when I was talking about him yesterday. I think he's just an incredible talent. But Eberechi Eze has the versatility to play on the left, play in the centre. Martin Ødegaard, there's a lot of reliance on him at Arsenal, and I think he needs to be put under a bit of pressure maybe to see the best of him. But Eberechi Eze is
I do think it is about the here and now for Arsenal. So if he's a ready-made to go in at starting 11 and improve it, then you go out all out for him. If you're using him as a squad player, I may think twice.
They need someone to improve the 11, don't they?
And they did that with Gyökeres over Šeško. Šeško 22, maybe a little bit raw. Gyökeres 27, ready to go now. It feels like the here and now for Arsenal.
Yeah, OK. Well, any move for Eberechi Eze, you never know, could be later on in the window. This one, though, could happen a little bit earlier. Big news yesterday, because Premier League teams are now in no doubt that Gianluigi Donnarumma could be available because he failed to agree terms with PSG on a new deal with the European champions. He's been told he's no longer part of the club's plans and he can leave. He's also posted an emotional tribute on Instagram last night. He basically said goodbye to the fans, even though he's still technically a part of the squad. He said, unfortunately, someone has decided that I can no longer be part of the group and contribute to the team's success. That someone is, you presume, the manager, Luis Enrique. I am disappointed and disheartened. Now, Manchester City and Manchester United are among the clubs who've been linked with the move for Donnarumma, especially Manchester City, if you read a lot of the newspaper reports this morning, James. This is fascinating, isn't it? This is big news. This is a Champions League winning goalkeeper, one of the best, if not the best shot stopper in the world right now. He's still young. City, as I say, heavily linked. But should a few other Premier League clubs be seriously considering putting in a bid for him?
As you mentioned, one of the best goalkeepers in the world. He's 26 years old. He broke into that AC Milan team so young. Now spent the time at PSG. It feels like he's been around for ages, was a big part of Italy winning the Euros a few years back, unfortunately for England fans. It's a surprising move. It's surprising to see those quotes come out. Obviously, we know PSG have signed Lucas Chevalier now from Lille, the 23-year-old. They see their future with him. Donnarumma, 1 year left in his contract. So the Manchester City links came from L'Équipe in France. They reported that Manchester City have actually agreed personal terms with Donnarumma. That doesn't mean club-to-club terms have been discussed or approached or anything at this matter, but the players apparently agreed personal terms. Now, the link with Manchester City, I would say, surprises me. They've just signed James Trafford back. Ederson was quoted in the summer at the Club World Cup saying he's not looking to leave. He wants to compete at Manchester City. He wants Manchester City to compete for Premier League titles, Champions League, and he wants to help them do that. So it's surprising that they're doing that. Now, if Manchester City were to bring in Gianluigi Donnarumma, what does that say to James Trafford, who's just joined, a young keeper?
He's just said he wants to be number one. That's why he's joined, right?
He's not going to be number one to probably, arguably, one of the best goalkeepers in the world. So I'm very surprised by that. The obvious links, Chelsea, Manchester United. Chelsea, because of Robert Sanchez, maybe some don't see him as potentially up to the standard that Chelsea want to win trophies. Having said that, he had a fantastic Club World Cup. And Manchester United, with Andre Onana, I think there's a bit of... People are unsure about how good he actually is. So, yeah, interesting.
It is interesting, isn't it? Yeah, I was surprised by the Man City links as well. What did you make of that? And which Premier League clubs do you think he would be most impactful at? Where would he be a big upgrade?
I think as a keeper, I think, he's one of the best, and he could get in Manchester City's team. But the problem is with Man City, they like to play, they like to go back to the keeper, build up, and Donnarumma, that's not his greatest strength. Man U, however, Chelsea, yes, they like to split and play, but they're not as focused on that department. I think for Chelsea, he'll help them, propel them to new heights and potentially help them win the league or get close to it. I don't see the link with City, to be honest.
Okay, so you don't think he'll end up at City?
No, I don't think he'll end up at City. It reminds me of the Joe Hart one. Great keeper, but with his feet, it wasn't his greatest strength, and Pep recognised that and obviously went bravo. And then the next couple end up with Ederson, who, look, fantastic goalkeeper and done exceptional for them for the last 6-7 years. I don't see him leaving either.
You don't see him leaving?
Ederson.
Okay. Right, Ederson, no. Yeah. So where do you see Donnarumma ending up then, in a word?
If I'm Chelsea
Really?
or Manchester United.
But yeah, Chelsea have backed Robert Sanchez, haven't they, publicly?
Chelsea have been clear that their goalkeeping department they're happy with right now. There's no links, there's no stories, there's no reports.
He wasn't available.
That does change things.
True, yeah.
It does change things, and he is, like I said, one of the best keepers in the world. When a player like that does come available, it does change things.
Yeah.
Manchester United, I think, the expensiveness of the deal, the costs, implications, it just feels like it's going to be too high for Manchester United to do that deal at the moment.
Yeah, all right. Keep your eyes on this space. Donnarumma could be coming to the Premier League, but where? Right, we've got loads more to come on Good Morning Transfers. We're going to talk about one of Dan's former clubs, Newcastle. It's been a difficult transfer window, hasn't it? But could they be about to sign a midfielder? And could it be Jacob Ramsey? Stay with us. Breaking news for you concerning Bournemouth. They have signed defender Bafode Diakite from Lille. It is a deal worth £30.3 million with £4.3 million in add-ons. We'll have more on that in just a moment, but let's just run you through some other deals and potential deals on the horizon. Liverpool are in talks with Crystal Palace for Marc Guehi and believe the defender is keen to move to Anfield. It's been reported that Liverpool target Alexander Isak is determined to make the switch and he won't play for Newcastle again, regardless of whether a deal is agreed. Newcastle are in talks over a move for Aston Villa's Jacob Ramsey. However, Villa do not want to sell Ramsey and they've offered him a new contract. Tottenham remain keen on Crystal Palace's Eberechi Eze. Arsenal expressed interest earlier in the summer, but their focus is on sales right now. Gianluigi Donnarumma could be on his way to the Premier League after being left out of the PSG squad to face Spurs in tonight's UEFA Super Cup. He's got a year left on his current contract. Everton target Tyler Dibbling was left out of the Southampton squad for last night's Carabao Cup win against Northampton. Will still confirm Dibbling's still not in the right frame of mind after they rejected Everton's latest offer of £43 million, including add-ons. And West Ham have seen an opening bid of £30 million rejected by Southampton for Mateus Fernandes. Right, let's just recap that breaking news then. Bournemouth have announced the signing of Bafode Diakite from Lille, centre-back, who comes in and a much-needed position that they need to fill, Dan, given all of the outgoings in defence.
Yeah, I mean, they've lost probably, 4 of the back 5 they had, including Kepa in that as well. So, yeah, defensive reinforcements were what Bournemouth really needed. They managed to get one in. I believe they probably still need another one. Obviously, they lost Zabani, they lost Dean Huijsen and Kerkez. So they replaced the left-back, replaced one of the centre-backs, and now they're probably going to look for another one to just strengthen that area. And then hopefully... Look, the 3 guys that they've lost, they've gone to 3 of the best clubs in world football, so it's going to be a tough ask. But the recruitment process there is thorough. The guys have done a great job in the past, and I'm sure the players that they're looking at and the players that they're bringing in are going to be top players as well.
What are your thoughts on letting all those 3 players go at the same time? Did the club have little choice, given the clubs that wanted them?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the profit they've made on each of them, I think it's very good business. For still Bournemouth, they're still a club that's growing. That money really helps. And then if you look at it from their point of view, the players' point of view, it's Liverpool, Real Madrid and Paris Saint-Germain. I don't think Bournemouth can stand in any of their ways. I think the 3 lads conducted themselves really well. And they've gone with the blessing of everyone at Bournemouth.
When you look at the squad, do you think there's other areas that they could strengthen as well? Which particular areas? There's a bit of money still in the tank to use, right?
Yeah, definitely another defender. Obviously, they've sorted the goalkeeper situation out. Possibly a winger. I know Utara's getting linked with a move away. There'll be some more money coming in from that deal potentially. But yeah, definitely wide areas. they probably need a few more goals now from those areas, and that's another one where they'll probably be looking at to bring in.
This is basically the Dan Gosling part, so we're going to talk about another one of your teams now. It's Dan Gosling part on Good Morning Transfers. We're going to talk about Newcastle, because they are trying to get deals done. They've brought in Malick Thiaw yesterday from AC Milan, and they're now in talks with Aston Villa to sign a midfielder. James, who is it?
Jacob Ramsey. Yet again, these links are rising to the surface. Newcastle have been long-term admirers of Jacob Ramsey, 24-year-old Birmingham boy player. They tried to sign him actually in January. Tottenham were also interested at the time. Now, he's got 2 years left on his contract. Now, the interesting part of this is on Friday, Sky Sports News exclusively revealed that Aston Villa had offered Jacob Ramsey a new contract. So this deal isn't necessarily to let the player go because it's going to help our profit and sustainability of the club. It's actually a player that Unai Emery really likes his versatility, likes the energy that he adds to that team. They don't want to let this player go. But if the player's refusing to sign a contract, he's got 2 years left in his contract. The club do need to recoup some money in. Maybe this might work out to be the right move and a good move for Aston Villa, certainly.
OK. From a Newcastle point of view, Newcastle have got one of the best midfields in the Premier League. Does it make sense, this move?
Yeah, I mean, they've obviously lost Sean Longstaff to Leeds. They play with a 3. So I know Eddie says he wants 6. I don't know. I mean, 5, 6 midfielders, yeah, for 3 positions, yeah, it's OK. I think Jacob Ramsey will come in and he definitely lifts the squad up. I think he's a really, really good player. I think he's very similar to Willock. But Willock's had his injury problems in the past, probably 2 years. But it just gives him a little bit of versatility in there. Jacob Ramsey can obviously play further forward as well. So if they're going to tweak the system a little bit, he can play off the sides. He can play in that number 10 position. So yeah, it gives him great versatility, and I think it'd be a great signing for Newcastle.
And Dan, how crucial is it that Newcastle get more depth in their side? Because we've been talking about it quite a lot during this transfer window, that a lot of Premier League clubs, especially those competing in Europe, are adding depth to their squad to make sure they can compete on all fronts.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, if you look at the midfield 3 last year, they played a hell of a lot of games. And this year they're going to be travelling Tuesday, Wednesday, play Sunday again. And those 3 can't, the way Eddie likes to play and press and be on the front foot, they're running. And they just need to freshen it up for weekend games. And Ramsey is a replacement that can come in and still keep the level just as high. So I think it'll be a fantastic bit of business for them.
If Eddie gets this over the line, he'll have brought in Elanga, Thiaw, and then possibly Ramsey as well. Things starting to look... Sorry?
And Ramsdale, sorry.
And Ramsdale, yeah, forgot about him. Are things starting to look a little bit calmer for Newcastle in the window after that?
Yeah, everyone's sort of saying it's been a horrendous window, and yes, they've missed out on targets. And I see the list of targets that they've missed out on, and I look at Dean Huijsen was in that list. Dean Huijsen was never going to Newcastle. And it's not because of Newcastle, it's not because of Eddie, it's not because of the location, it's not because of anything like that. It's Real Madrid were there. You're only going to Real Madrid. So that name can just be scrubbed off.
Right.
Matheus Cunha again. Yes, Newcastle had small little links with him, but he was only going to Manchester United. And that was rumbling on a year and a half ago. So there's 2... I understand the João Pedro, I understand the Liam Delap. Yes, they missed out on those targets. Brian Mbeumo, potentially as well. But this window was about quality over quantity. And Elanga's come in, filled that right position. Very, very good signing. Ramsdale's come in, great signing. Jacob Ramsey, again, if he does get over the line, really good midfielder. And then obviously Malick Thiaw, who probably we don't know too much about, but big money, I expect big things.
Yeah, right. House and Cunha, let's just put them off our list, all right?
Yeah, please.
And them again in that conversation. Right, we've got to talk about Alexander Isak, I'm afraid, Dan, because Paul Merson says that Isak could have left Newcastle a hero this summer, but his actions in trying to force a move to Liverpool have tainted his legacy there. Interesting comments from Paul. Do you agree?
Yeah, I do. I do wonder if all the noise is actually coming from Isak or Isak's camp. That's probably the big factor in this. I don't believe professionals are bad bad lads, bad personalities. I think he fits in really well with everything they've done up there the last few years. I feel like he's probably one of the main leaders in the dressing room. So for him to come out and probably say those things, I'm not too sure, but yeah, look, it's getting a bit sour now up there, and I think for everyone to get it done sooner rather than later, and it looks like Isak's on his way out.
Is that what you think? Do you think there's any way that he could be there at the end of the window, given how he's behaved?
I think before these last comments come out, I'll never play for the club again. I still wonder if that's him or his representatives. Right. If it's him, then yeah, I don't see there's a way back.
He's okaying it. Whenever,
yeah,
whoever
exactly.
comes out with it, it's in his name.
Yeah, no, I understand. So with that statement, I think there's only one way, and that's probably to sell him for the most money you can get. But Liverpool have got to pay the money. I mean, everyone's talking about Liverpool. I don't see any other club probably stumping that amount up. If Liverpool don't pay it, then Newcastle are well in their rights to say, no, you're not leaving. He has 3 years left of his contract. If the window shuts and he's still there, I'm sure there'll be a way back. It might take a little longer, but I'm sure there'll be a reintegration.
Yeah, that's been the saga of the window so far. It's going to keep on going. I said before this was the Dan Gosling part. Well, actually, we're going to talk about another one of your teams in the next part. Still to come on Good Morning Transfers. Everton have brought in Jack Grealish. Will David Moyes look to bring in more players? Plus, could we see Manchester United sign a midfielder before the window closes? Stay with us. Thanks, Tom. Didn't he retire from Good Morning Transfers?
I'm sure there was this
Instagram
social media post, really dramatic, that it was his last show and he's been in every day.
He's on every day. He's on more than he was on before. Anyway, always good to see him. Right, news from Tottenham to bring you. They've announced Cristian Romero is their new captain. He replaces Heung-min Son, who left for LAFC this month. And we've got some transfer news from the Championship as well. Ipswich goalkeeper Arianet Muric has joined the Italian club Sassuolo on a season-long loan. Let's get to Everton, because Jack Grealish signed yesterday on loan from Manchester City with a £50 million option to buy him as well. Dan, your old club, is this a big coup for Everton? Because Jack Grealish could have hung around, couldn't he, until the end of the window and maybe had even more suitors.
Yeah, I think for Everton's point of view, I think it's a fantastic signing. I think he's going to come in, he's going to lift everyone in that club, he's going to lift the fan base first and foremost. Obviously, we spoke about the new stadium a lot, and David Moyes is leading that team into a new era, if you like, and this is a statement signing that they need to go into that stadium. Jack's going to know he's going to turn up, and he's a bit like when he's at Villa. He knew he was the best player. I think he's going to walk into that Everton dressing room, feel really confident, know he's probably one of the best ones. Everyone's going to look up to him, want to give him the ball, and he's going to love that atmosphere there. The fans are going to love him, and I think it's a fantastic signing.
And we were debating this yesterday, actually, about where he could play and where he could be used. Do you think David Moyes could use him as a number 10 predominantly?
Yes, I think he's going to switch with NDI and Grealish and 10 on off the left. I think there's going to be great rotation between those two players especially. It just gives them so much attacking threat. I mean, NDI goes probably under the radar, but he's a great player, and I think he just needs one or two others to link up with him and get on the same sort of wavelength, and Jack Grealish certainly does that. What it does do for Jack, it just frees him up. He's played on the left and cut him back in and pass him back inside, and now he's going to go back to Jack Grealish that we all loved at Aston Villa, taking the ball from different areas, driving at defences, laying it off, getting fouls and making things happen, and that's where he's at his best.
Dan, you mentioned that he'll go there as the main man. Do you think that's maybe where he struggled a bit at Manchester City, being a fish in a giant pond?
Yeah, I think, look, Jack probably struggled early on when he went there. I think Pep's very, very structured in the way he plays. Jack was never that player. I think he then adapted to it and he become a mainstay in the side. I mean, that treble-winning season, he was one of the main players. But yeah, it's strange. Some seasons you're in favour with Pep, and then others you're quite not. And it's happened with a few players over his time. But yeah, this will just free Jack up, like I say, and he'll do exceptional well at Everton.
Well, another attacking player Everton have been trying to bring in is Tyler Dibbling, but they are reluctant to meet Southampton's valuation for Dibbling. They're also currently unwilling to meet Leicester's demands for Abdul Fattah, and they're now considering other options in that position. They've been frustrated, Everton, with the Dibbling situation. They might still go back in with another offer, we're not too sure. But after a slow start, if you look at their overall business, has it just slowly suddenly become a pretty good window for them?
It's definitely getting there. I mean, Jack Grealish will improve most Premier League squads, that's for sure. And a team like Everton has done put perfectly well. He will, you would think, thrive. David Moyes has been quite open, actually. He wanted new players in, but he also said, look, we will be making signings. He was trying to calm the Everton fans, say, look, they come in. It's just taking a little bit of time. Dewsbury Hall, very smart addition to the squad alongside Jack Grealish. They've brought in a new forward as well to compete with Beto. Perhaps maybe need another forward in the side too. Kept hold of Jared Branthwaite as well, and actually keeping a player like him was probably quite key too. Tyler Diblin's an interesting one because they have pursued him. 3 bids they've had rejected for the player. The latest one totalled around £43 million, but that included £35 million as an upfront fee and then £8 million in add-ons. Now, we understand Southampton are looking for around £45 million plus add-ons for Tyler Diblin. So it remains to be seen whether Everton want to go back in or feel like that's going to be money well spent. I mean, look, Dan, we're speaking a little bit off camera about Tyler Diblin. You're a big fan, aren't you?
Yeah, I think he's a terrific talent. I think the technical ability, again, is... England are just keep producing these players now. It was unheard of probably 10 years ago, but now, obviously, and then obviously the youngest one's probably Max, that everyone's just come aware of. But no, he's a great talent. I think the 45 million is a hell of a lot of money. I think it's probably too much, but at the same time, Tyler's played in a struggling Southampton side, so I don't think people have actually seen the best of him and seen what he's really capable of. I mean, his dribbles and stuff last season were probably really good, but the end product might not have been there because there was no one to pass to, or they didn't get in those attacking areas enough. So he's probably doing a lot of his work in his own half, taking 2-3 on, and then maybe getting a foul. And it's not really nothing's coming at the end of it. So a lot of people probably don't know about him too much, but terrific talent. I just worry the 45 million fee is maybe too much for Everton at this moment in time.
Yeah, at the moment, teams seem to be balking at that valuation of Tyler Dibbling. I wonder if the valuation of Carlos Baleba is going to put off Manchester United. We know they're in the market for a midfielder. Any deal, though, to sign Baleba could be costly, and Brighton, well, they don't want to sell him, which is a problem as well. We talked about this quite a bit yesterday, didn't we? Just talk us through, James, why Brighton value him so highly. And we're talking Caicedo money really here, aren't we?
We are talking Caicedo money, and it will take Caicedo money for Brighton to sell the player. First of all, Brighton, we know their business model. They find these talents, they develop them, and then they sell them on for big money. We know that. They've been doing it for years. They will continue to do it. That breeds their success. But they've got an ideal comparison in Moises Caicedo in terms of the player plays in the same position, the same mould of player, and what they were able to recruit for him. 21 years old. Now, I found this comparison with Declan Rice, Moises Caicedo and Carlos Baleba. The other two, £100 million plus players. So these are the stats from last year in the Premier League. And you will see that Carlos Baleba has better stats in that position than the likes of Caicedo. More aerial duels won, same amount of clearances, more interceptions, more ball recoveries than Moises Caicedo. And again, you could compare them to Declan Rice. Now, I know stats don't always paint the perfect picture.
Rice plays a bit further up sometimes.
Because different teams have less of the ball or more of the ball. Now, he's obviously been strongly linked to Manchester United. So I did a bit of digging this morning as well, compared him to, say, Manuel Ugarte, who plays in that central midfield role, that deep line in midfield. Aerial duels, 0.6 Ugarte, 1.4 Baleba. Interceptions, 0.9 Ugarte, 1.6 Baleba. Clearances, 0.5 Ugarte, 1.5 Baleba. And blocks, 0.1 Ugarte, 0.4 Baleba. The upgrade in the stats are there to see. 21 years old. And also, if you do the eye test, which I'm sure I'll pass over to Dan, who's got probably better eyes than I have, but he is a proper footballer. He is quality. He's been vital for Brighton under Fabian Hurtzler, certainly last year.
Yeah, you thought of changing your TV name to Statman James. That was magnificent, mate. That really was.
I think a certain Dave has got
he's patented the Statman name. You can't use it, otherwise you've got to pay him. Do Man United need a big signing in midfield like a Baleba to take them to the next level?
I think they do. First and foremost, I think they definitely need legs in that area. I think there's one area in their team where they're probably lacking. They've tried. They've spent big on 2 players in Casemiro, Ugarte. There's over 100 million between them. And probably, arguably, they've both not done it. In spells, Casemiro's been okay, but it's a hell of a big money. Carlos Baleba is young. He'll be there for a long time, but the price tag, you're talking 100, 120 million pound. I just think it's too much for this window, especially. I think there's probably, I don't know if Man U could. They've strengthened height of the pitch. They do need that area, but I think 120 million is going to be too much.
Yeah, it might need to do it in stages. Attack first and then midfield, then defence. Right, lots more to get through. We're going to talk about West Ham after the break. They're trying to get deals done, as are Chelsea. Their focus is mainly on outgoings at the moment. Could one of those be Nicholas Jackson? We'll talk about him next. Welcome back to Good Morning Transfers. Mateus Fernandes scored for Southampton in their Carabao Cup game against Northampton last night, despite being the subject of a £30 million bid by West Ham. Now, James Green is president of the Mateus Fernandes fan club. We discovered that yesterday. How much more are West Ham likely to have to pay to get him?
Do you know, I actually posted something on social media at the end of last season after watching him a couple of times, and I had Southampton fans tell me to be quiet in certain words because he's their secret. And look, what a player he is. Look, they only signed him a year ago from Sporting Lisbon for around £12 million. He's got 4 years left in his contract. Now, manager Will Steele has spoken out and said, look, there were a few distractions with rumours and rumblings about potentially moving on. He gave him a bit of time away, but he's integrated him back in. He said the player is keen, wants to stay at the club. But Southampton value this player at around £50 million. Now, that for many will seem like a lot of money. For the leader of the Mateus Fernandes fan club, that is a good bit of business for a young talent, attacking midfielder. And it's not just his creativity. Again, similar with Tyler Diblin, like you were saying before, when you're in a team that is struggling to score goals and struggling to win games, if you're a creative player, you're not necessarily, your final ball's not being finished off, so your stats might not necessarily look as good. When I watched him, what I like about him is his work rate. I watched him towards the end of the season in a game at Tottenham. Southampton were already down. I think it may have gone down that day. And he was working back. He's an attacking midfielder. He was running back, chasing hard. He was leading that team. He's just 21 years old. I expect West Ham to probably try and push to get his signing. Southampton are going to really struggle to keep hold of him.
Interesting that he's continuing to play as well as in. Tyler Dibbling at the moment is not playing. See if West Ham go back in for Fernandes. Let's talk about Nicholas Jackson again, because he's told Chelsea that he wants to consider his options. This has been bubbling around for a while now, hasn't it? Dan, we discussed that he has some suitors in Europe, but they might not work out in terms of what they need and how keen they are on him, actually. In terms of the Premier League, which Premier League club do you think might be the best fit for him, as long as they're not overpaying?
The obvious one is Newcastle. I mean, I look at the other sort of top sides in the league. There's not too many that need strikers. Villa's obviously signed someone. Spurs have got Solanke. Richarlison's still there. If Richarlison leaves, potentially there might be a space, but the obvious one is Newcastle. Again, I'm hearing £80 million. I'm not so sure on that figure. But Nicholas Jackson, on his day, is a great player. I think Paul Merson summed him up yesterday. He'll cause defenders problems. He might miss chances. We've seen that. But he will score goals. He will create space for other players. I think of Gordon running behind, Elanga running behind now, Jacob Ramsey if he goes running beyond. He would create space for those types of players. But 80 million, it just sounds a lot. But that's number 9s. There's not many of them, and people are desperate for them.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, if no one wants to pay that fee, could you see him still staying at Chelsea and filling a role there?
Matt, he's got 8 years left on his contract. 8 years. I mean, look, we've been talking about Chelsea's deals for players and the contract lengths as maybe a positive for the player. It gives them their future sorted. But if something isn't working out, then getting that player out of the club becomes quite tricky because they want big money for them. I can see him staying and competing. As Dan, I think, rightly said, he causes defensive problems. I think Newcastle's a great fit. He's got that work rate that Eddie Howe wants from his players. I think he'll fit very well, but Newcastle's not going to spend 80 million on Nicholas Jackson right now. So, look, can I see him competing with Liam Delap, João Pedro? Absolutely. We talk about depth in the squad. He will add depth to that attacking lineup and he will compete with those guys, but yeah, 80 million, difficult for Newcastle.
Yeah, OK. Yeah, I mean, it does sound quite a lot anyway. Dan, great to have you back, mate. Very, very strong again. Please come regularly. Really enjoyed talking to you.
Thank you.
You can really get that coach's mindset, don't you? The Watford under-18s coach at the moment. Really enjoyed your insight. Thanks very much. Right.
Big news from North London. Spurs have a new leader, and Liverpool are being told to rethink their transfer priorities. Let's break it all down. Tottenham have confirmed Cristian Romero as their new club captain. The Argentine centre-back takes the armband from Heung-min Son, who departed this summer. Romero's first match as skipper will be no small occasion. Spurs face PSG tonight in the Super Cup in Italy. Meanwhile, pundit Paul Merson has sent a clear message to Liverpool. Forget chasing Newcastle striker Alexander Isak and focus instead on signing a top-quality centre-back. Merson believes defensive reinforcements are more important for the Reds as they prepare to defend their Premier League title. Romero steps into the captain's role at Spurs, and Liverpool face calls to change their transfer plans. We'll keep you updated right here on Sport Lab.